cold as a razor blade.
Episode of the Snake Pit, and of course, I'm joined by the man himself, WWE Hall of Famer, and a man who's just getting ready to go across the pond here for a big event. It's Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake, you're right on the eve of a trip back to the United Kingdom.
Yeah, I was ready to go, man. Back in that bag.
Packing the bag and going over there with For the Love of Wrestling. Now, by the time this episode comes out, I think that Jake is actually going to be back in the United States. But man, England, getting to go back over there and spend a little time with your fans, a pretty special place for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, I spent three and a half years there, so yeah, it's kind of special.
Jake, I don't think I've ever asked you this question. It's something I'm curious about. I know that you lived in England for a while. What prompted you to make the big jump of moving, out of the damn country for a while?
I just needed to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what ultimately prompted you to make your return to the U.S.?
I needed another change.
It's not everybody has the luxury to do big changes like that. So good for you, brother. It's cool that you're able to experience it.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, okay, Jake. Today we return to our discussion of championship wrestling from Florida in November 1982. And again, last time that we talked about it, it was the first half of November. This is a very, very busy month for you and your career down there. So now we're on the back half of November 82. As we discussed on the last show, it's 90 days into your run, and you're working top end of the card as part of the largest feud in the territory with Dusty Rhodes and Kevin Sullivan. Allowed you to become one of the hottest heels in the territory only 3 months in, and your first time as a heel. So, man, it's a cool time in your career. A lot going on. So we concluded the last episode on CWF with a discussion about you and Barry Windham working several taped fist matches. And as you told us, tape fist match, guaranteed violent affair there's going to be color in a tape fist match, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, Jake, one thing I do want to ask you is I'm noticing that Florida relies really heavily on gimmick matches. And I know that you've got history as a booker, of course, and a creative mind. Do you feel like it was maybe a little bit too much of the good stuff with these specialty matches, or is frequency a good thing?
Yeah, I thought it was too much at the time. You know, it just every time you turned around, you had one.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's okay, I guess. You know, if you're going to do that, you're going to do that. It's just making choices. But for Dusty to keep choosing those things, I just didn't understand.
It's a lot, and I guess you don't want to burn out the audience with a lot of gimmicky shit. On the other side of the token, though, I do wonder, Jake. I haven't worked a gimmick match yet as a wrestler, so here's a good question for it. Do you feel like it's easier for a wrestler to work a gimmick match because you're able to kind of use this gimmick as a storytelling device?
Sure. That's what you do. I mean, a tape fist match is pretty simple what you're going to do. You're going to beat his ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Now, again, this is your first time working heel, and you said it's pretty straightforward. You beat the shit out of each other. As a heel in the match, and again, your first time being a heel, is there like a formula for a tape fist match? Like who gets color first, who's on top more often?
I think the heel has to be on top more often.
Mm.
Simply because you're gonna build a match, and to build that match, the heel has to be on top.
So build the drama by just getting a ton of heat.
Right. Right.
Now, obviously, tape
color on the baby face first.
Color on the baby face first.
Yeah.
And does the heel not get color until like the baby face's comeback, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously a lot of striking in this type of match. It's a tape fist match. Would you say it was pretty live when you guys are throwing hands, or gimmick punches as usual?
It was as usual.
Okay.
You know, the punches weren't any harder. I'm sure there were a few taters thrown.
There's a few taters thrown in every match in my experience.
Yeah.
Most of them have been coming from me recently, so hopefully I don't have any receipts coming. Jake, one thing that I've heard a lot of guys say, especially when they're in this match type, is that it's a tough guy industry, and everybody wants to prove I'm a tough guy for real. So I've heard about a lot of guys wanting to get cut the hard way, meaning let the guy punch you in the eyebrow to split you open. You ever ask anybody to do that?
Fuck no.
Has anybody ever asked you to do it?
No, but it's been done to me.
Oh, like without your consent?
Yeah, just an accident.
Okay.
Savage got me over the eyebrow. Got me for about 26 stitches, something like that.
That's a hell of a punch.
Yeah, 30 seconds into a match.
What, was he just fucking hyped up or what?
It was a cage match, and he ran up the cage, and I went up after him, and he just swung back with that elbow, and he got me.
Oh, shit.
Got me good.
Now, Randy Savage, very big star in the industry. Of course, Jake Roberts, very big star in the industry as well. How do you handle it when you get a big cut from a guy like Randy?
Oh, ain't nothing to it, man. It just happened,
Okay, so you're not actively like, I'm going to get this motherfucker back
Oh,
on it.
hell no.
Yeah, okay. During one of your double shots where you'd work a match in Tampa and then drive all the way down to Miami on the same day to work another match, which
Yeah.
is crazy. Again, every time I look at cage match and I see Tampa and then Miami on the same day, I'm like, there's no fucking way. But you confirmed it here on the show. But in this match, you're going to get Rufus R. Jones on the Miami one. And Jake, I have my doubts if we'll ever discuss Rufus here on the show again. So now's our chance. What can you tell us about the man?
He's a good old boy, That's about it. He's just an good old boy. Loved his barbecue.
Now, I heard something recently about Rufus, and I'd love to hear your take on it. And it's something that actually Al Perez said. Al claimed that Dusty started borrowing a lot of Rufus's stuff while they were together in Florida, and then ultimately fired Rufus. And Jake, I can't think of anybody who'd be better to comment on this than you. You were around both guys during this exact period that we're talking about. Do you feel like there's any truth to that narrative?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I kind of
Rufus was the end of his career,
Okay.
And he couldn't hardly get around, very slow. He had passed the time that he should have got out of the ring. He should have got out sooner. But there you go.
I've heard a lot of folks say even in his prime, when he was at his very best, he was just a great character and never great in the ring.
Yeah.
Jake, these violent matches that you were having during this period set the stage for another gimmick match. It's the Bunkhouse match. It's going to be a street fight match made famous by Dusty Rhodes. The wrestlers competed in street clothes, usually blue jeans, boots, leather belts, and cutoff shirts. I've seen a couple of pictures of you back in the day wearing this get up for this type fight. The match is characteristically ultra violent and hard hitting and always bloody. And of course, in Jim Crockett Promotions, Dusty even built a pay-per-view around this match to compete head-to-head with WrestleMania 4. So, Jake, you mentioned before that, the travel and work here in this territory is nonstop. And now you're participating in a series of matches, tape fist, bunkhouse matches that require a lot of violence and bloodshed. What did you think about competing in these sort of matches?
Oh, it's all right with me, man. They're gimmick matches, so it makes them pretty easy to do if you're smart. Bunkhouse match basically is just a tape fist match with blue jeans on.
Ah, okay.
Basically the same damn match, except you got blue jeans on. Of course, you do have a belt that does come off, and you can use the belt to whip somebody with. And, that's just one of the tools you have in the ring. So use it.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break to talk about Mando. You know, Valentine's Day has come and gone, but spring is in the air, love is in the air. And I know that a lot of folks out there are getting ready to go on some dates and have a little romance. What do you do when you go out to have some romance? A lot of you get a new haircut, you'll maybe get a good shave, but you might be leaving out the most important possible thing, the non-negotiable thing for a first date. We are talking about deodorant. Man, Mando has got you covered when it comes to smelling the way that you want to smell, and more importantly, the way that your partner wants you to smell. You want to talk about going into a first date with confidence? How about going in there smelling unbelievable? I mean, Mando's got a variety of fresh scents like bourbon leather, which is my personal favorite, Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, and Pro Sport. Guys, Mando smells incredible. It's going to give you the confidence that you want, and it's going to give you confidence that lasts. It's a whole body deodorant, safe to use anywhere on your body. We're talking about pits, balls, thigh folds, belly buttons, butt cracks, and feet. It was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. One that I use all the time is the solid stick deodorant. It's formulated and powered by mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts. You guys know that I've been climbing into the ring to wrestle. Anytime before I get into the ring to wrestle, obviously you don't want to go in there smelling awful. So what I do is I put on that Mando solid stick deodorant. It's in the Mount Fuji scent. I go in there, I smell great. I've actually had people during practice say, "What are you wearing?" And the answer is simple, folks. It's Mando. All products are baking soda free and paraben free, and they're clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. We're talking about 12 hours after the shower, you're still going to be smelling good. Are you ready to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula now? You can find them in Walmart, Target, and other retailers across the country. But for the best deals, go to shopmando.com. We want to get you started. If you're a new customer, get over there and get $5 off a starter pack. It comes with solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice. I strongly recommend the mini body wash and deodorant wipes. New customers are going to get $5 off that starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% of the starter pack, and all you've got to do is use our code SNAKE at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show. Tell them that we sent you by using that promo code SNAKE, and you're going to get to enjoy all the benefits of using Mando. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Whenever I hear a bunkhouse match, I'm always picturing guys getting hit with fucking buckets and shit like that, but not quite the case. Just tape fists.
No, that was about it.
Okay.
We didn't have buckets or any of that bullshit.
Well, Jake, most of our listeners will have never been in the ring for a match like this, and who knows if I'll ever experience it in my wrestling career. What can you tell us about the atmosphere, intensity of like when you're in a violent type match, especially in a territory like Florida where like kayfabe is very, very alive?
Yeah, it sure was, man. You just go in the ring and you go hard, man. That's all. You know, doing these gimmick matches made it simple to do. You just use the gimmick and go ahead and, and go with it. You know, there's going to be a lot of blood. You just want to be sure that you get it at the right time, Make it work. Make it mean something. Well, that was the key, man. Make it mean something.
It's interesting to hear you talk about getting blood at the right time because I think that's like a really underrated narrative that not a lot of people talk about in wrestling. Jake, have you ever gotten blood at the wrong time, and what is that experience like?
Oh yeah, that Randy Savage thing, man. Whenever he that elbow back there, that was definitely at the wrong time.
Sure
We're,
was.
we're in a friggin' cage match, and I've got juice, 30 seconds into the damn thing, and I've got a lot of it too, brother. A lot. And I remember coming back from the ring that night. There was some guy up in the stands hollered at me, "Good juice, Jake." And I fucking wanted to go kill him because it wasn't juice, man. I fucking hard weighed my ass.
Ugh. Man, 26 stitches. I should have asked you this in the first place. Obviously, you're working nonstop in those WWF days, and you got a bunch of stitches now, like Frankenstein in your fucking eyebrow.
Yeah.
How do you manage working without breaking it back open?
Just keep away from it, man.
So you just smarten up the guy ahead of time, like, "Don't punch me on the side of my face," and that's that.
No headlocks.
No headlocks. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. That's tough.
Yeah.
You guys gotta be careful how he snatches you up and stuff or slams and whatnot too.
Don't run my head into the fucking corner.
Based on what I've heard, it feels like you would say that sort of thing to some guys back in the day, and they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll take care of you, brother," and then they'd instantly grab a headlock when you're out there.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Jake, when you would do a bunkhouse match, tape fist match or whatever, are you, like, having a lot of conversation ahead of time to avoid a clusterfuck, or is it just like, "See you in the ring, we'll figure it out?"
Oh, it's easy. Or it was for me.
Okay.
It's easy. Just get your heat on that baby face, get the color on the baby face, and then take it home.
So essentially treat it like it's any regular match, right? Heat on
Yeah,
the baby face, come back, go home.
yeah,
Okay. Something that we haven't talked about yet when it comes to your time in Florida is injuries. Again, you're going really hard during this period, and up to this point in your career, the only injury that you and I have really discussed is your arm injury from your first run in Mid South. Were you experiencing any nagging injuries during this kind of breakneck period in your career?
yeah. First, I started out with a bad wrist injury. I had to have wrist surgery,
Mm,
and that kept me out for I don't know a year.
damn.
It was pretty serious, man. It's like a corporal tunnel times three. Because I bent my wrist over.
Ah,
You know, my fingers were touching my fucking hand back here, my arm.
holy shit.
Yeah, that's not a good thing to do. To go from here to bend it over.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, that was the worst thing that happened to me. But I broke the arm, of course. But other than that, I wasn't having anything that was sticking with me. My head got pretty sore from all the cutting.
Yep.
You know, that sucks too, man. When your head gets sore.
Because you can't let it heal, right?
No, no. I mean, you do a blade job every night for 7 days, man. Fuck, you're starting to look for a fresh place to cut.
I mean, under those circumstances, you could almost just tell the guy, like, "Just punch me in my cut that I got yesterday. It'll open up."
Yeah, you can do that, but I don't believe in that because sometimes when you do that, it opens up too much.
Ah, okay. It's more controlled with a little blade.
Well, that it's going to be harder to heal.
Yeah.
So try to keep away from doing that.
That is damn good advice, Jake, because I'm not even thinking about that sort of thing. So if it were me, I probably would have just told the guy, like, "I already have a cut from yesterday, just open it." But you're right, it could get, like, infected or worsen, get wider, something like that.
Yeah,
But it sounds good that you're not really experiencing too many, injuries at this time. Like, is there anything that you're doing outside the ring, any stretching, stuff like that to kinda keep your body straight?
yeah. Stretch and bend that elbow and drink another one. No
I
stretch.
No, so even before you go through I've seen a lot of guys get limbered up before they go through the curtain. You're just strutting ass out there.
Yeah,
If you had to do over again, would you stretch or no?
yeah, I would.
If only DDP yoga was a thing back then,
Shit.
could have elongated your career.
Yep.
Okay, guys, let's take a quick time out to talk about our fantastic sponsor, BlueChew. It is the new year, and it's time for you to have better sex with BlueChew. And they're putting their money where their mouth is, pal. They're offering you a month for free. The whole process is totally simple. You owe it to yourself to give this a try. You just sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. BlueChew's tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped direct to your door. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready when the opportunity arises. The best part? It's all done online. That means no more visits to the doctor's office, no more awkward, uncomfortable conversations, and no more waiting in line at the pharmacy. Now, look, people ask me all the time, and it's always the same question: does BlueChew really work? Well, let me tell you, pal, it's time for you to find out for yourself. People are going to be calling you Eagle Scout with the way that you're going to be pitching tents by the time BlueChew is done with you. The folks at BlueChew told me they're not going to stop until every man is bricked up like a brick house. That is their mission. They want to get you rock hard in the new year. You know, I said you owe it to yourself. Not only do you owe it to yourself, you also owe it to your partner. You could be missing out on the best sex of your entire life without even knowing about it. Come on, you got to give this a try. They say there is nothing sexier than confidence, and BlueChew can help give you confidence where it counts. We can all relate to wanting to feel more confident, right? Especially in the bedroom, and BlueChew's here for you. It's time, guys. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of BlueChew free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank BlueChew for sponsoring the podcast. The bunkhouse concept is, of course, a Dusty idea and something he would later make very popular in JCP. Most people seem to have really fond memories of the dream, but Dusty is often criticized for his booking. And in fact, a particular type of finish in wrestling is known as the Dusty finish. Jake, are you familiar with what the Dusty finish is?
No, give it to me.
All right, it's when a match ends where a fan favorite wrestler seemingly wins, but then the decision is later reversed to a technicality or interference or something, which allows the heel to retain the title.
Oh, that sounds like a Dusty finish.
Dusty apparently went to that well so often in both Florida and JCP that it is sort of known now. Like I've heard guys in the locker room say it, like, "I will just do a Dusty finish on this." So it's a thing, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for Dusty to be forever associated with it.
Yeah.
Now, Jake, I know that you loved and respected Dusty, but again, you're a creative guy, booking experience. What is your honest opinion on Dusty as a booker?
He knew how to book Dusty. You know, he didn't do such a great job booking everybody else, but he knew how to book Dusty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's always working towards, you know, was keeping himself at the top of the ladder and everybody else down below. But he was carrying it, man. You know, fans were there, and he was drawing the houses. It was a pretty simple formula for him.
Now, you said it, Jake, and I've heard a lot of guys say those exact words, that exact same phrase. Dusty was good at booking Dusty. And a lot of guys who were with Dusty in Florida or JCP would later have heat with him when he came to the WWF or WCW because of this perception that he was only good at booking himself or only cared about helping himself. Jake, did you ever have any resentment toward Dusty for this type of booking?
No, I didn't, man. Are you kidding me? No, sir.
And why is that?
Because he was doing a job, man, and he was doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, if he had been putting himself on top and not drawing the fans, you know, when the seats were empty, that's when you got to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
But if the seats are full, leave it alone. It's working.
Yep.
And from my experience, the whole time I was there, it was working. So how can I build animosity there, man?
That's the right businessman's attitude. I think a lot of guys internalize it and say, like, well, what about me? But the real answer is, like, what about the crowd? Are they happy?
Yeah. Are the fans there? If they're there, you got to leave it alone.
Well, you referenced it here, and it's in the notes, so I definitely want to get your take on this. Dusty, obviously one of the most popular wrestlers ever in Florida. He was drawing massive houses for Florida for years and years and years. Went on to be a huge star in JCP as well. Later, the WWF, more success. Jake, if you can sum up what in your mind made Dusty such a special talent who connected with the fans so well. What was it about the Dream?
He had natural charisma, man.
Mm.
He had so much charisma that get next to him and you've got it all over you. You know, it's just very simple charisma. He knew how to walk, he knew how to talk, and he knew how to connect with the fans. And quite a showman.
Yep.
Quite a showman.
That's a good way to sum it up.
That's
and it's interesting because last week, Jake, we were talking about how guys like you and Scott Hall were just cool, and that's one of the things that helped you guys to get over anywhere you went. When it comes to Dusty, I think you're right. It's just like he had such energy when he would walk out there. It's the fans were just drawn to him, right?
Yeah.
Well, 12 months from where we are now in 1983, Dusty is going to become the booker of JCP, where he oversaw one of the early pay-per-view events with his creation, Starrcade, which became one of the biggest shows ever for the territory. This was considered a job interview by many for Dusty during this time. Do you think that given the opportunity, Dusty could have done the same thing in Florida, considering all the talent that he had at his disposal there?
I don't know if he could have done a Starrcade there. I'm not sure. But he had success there for sure. But Starrcade's another animal, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's another animal.
When Dusty moved on, do you feel like he had started to outgrow the Florida territory and it was just time for him to go?
Yeah, it was past time for him to go. He'd used it up.
Well, Jake, that is going to wrap us up for this week. Man, I love talking about Florida. Again, these are some stories that we are not hearing from Jake the Snake very regularly. So I love getting to kind of poke and prod and get the story behind the story on this stuff. And we'll start talking about December next time. We're going to get a little bit more into the devil worshiping angle that you guys were entrenched in there. And of course, we're going to talk about you getting dressed up as jolly old Saint Nick.
Oh, my God. Ho, ho, ho.
Jake, as always, man, it's a pleasure. Have fun over there in England, and I'll catch you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, guys, we're wrapping up the show. But before we go, got to remind you that if you're looking to attract that 25 to 54-year-old male demographic to your product or service, you've got to hit advertise with snake.com. Jake is still out there doing it, man, hitting the towns, on TV, meeting fans, and when he talks, people listen. So why not get the legendary Jake the Snake Roberts to put over your product or service to that exact demographic? If you want some proof that it works, just listen to our show. We routinely advertise for the same businesses because they know that what we do here works. Head to advertisewithsnake.com. Make Jake the Snake Roberts your tag team partner. Cameo.com/Jake Snake is the place if you want a personal message from Jake Roberts, if you want a birthday wish, or if you want Jake, the greatest promo in the history of wrestling, to cut a promo just for you. It all happens over at Cameo.com, and here's a recent review from Anonymous. This was the best decision of my life. Perfection. Thanks, Jake. I mean, short and sweet, but not a whole lot more needs to be said. Go and look at the reviews over at Cameo.com/Jake Snake and find out for yourself. All of the reviews are great. Jake puts a ton of effort into these. He knows what fans want, and he always delivers. Again, it's Cameo.com/Jake Snake. Order yours today. Check Jake and I out on YouTube. It's youtube.com/@SnakePitPod. We've got some short, bite-sized clips from the show and highlights. We've got some exclusive podcasts over there. You know, we've got that exclusive episode with Baby Doll, which gave more context on Jake's time in WCCW. And believe me, the gears are turning on other ways that we can get more context and more story behind the story, so to speak, on Jake and what he was doing and some of the stories that we've discussed here. So the only place to get all that is over at youtube.com/@snakepitpod. Does Jake and I a big favor. Get over there and get subscribed. Hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any awesome new videos that we're putting out, and enjoy all the wonderful content that Jake and I have up there. If you've enjoyed the Snake Pit, please do us a big favor. Like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review on all platforms. Does Jake and I a massive favor and only takes you a couple minutes. So seriously, if you can do it, please just take a couple seconds, help Jake and I out, give us that 5-star review, and let's keep chugging here on the Snake Pit. Catch Jake on X at JakeSnakeDDT, on Instagram at JakeTheSnakeDDT, and on Facebook at Real Jake the Snake. You can follow me and drop your questions at Marcus P. D'Angelo on X.